For 3 seasons, we have treated from like a puzzle box. We have collected clues, drawn maps, and debated theories, all in a desperate effort to answer one question: what is this place? But the show's biggest clue is not hidden in a cryptic symbol or monsters biology. It's been sitting in plain sight since day one. In an interview with the creator himself, he said the following: the idea for the show was seated in the aftermath of 9/11. That was the first time I realized that there's no permanence to the world that we live in. What does everything mean now? What do I do? So that's it. That's the key. The show is not about what the town is. It's about the feeling of the world falling apart and being forced to discover who you are in the wreckage. And the proof has been hiding in the episode titles all along. They're not just clever Easter eggs. They're the genres of suffering the town used to test its victims. A long day's journey into night, into the woods, there and back again. Each one is connected by a red thread on the board. Eugene O'Neill, Stephen Sondheim, J.R.R. Tolkien. It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern, a code left by the creators. Most people see this as simple Easter eggs, but they're more. This is not a horror show that likes books. This is a horror show that is a book. So if the town is a library of human suffering, what books are on its shelf? The episode title tells everything. They're the author's chosen genres. Let's open the book chapter by chapter. Let's begin with season 1. The opening act, establishing the rules of horror. In season 1, the author is setting the stage, introducing the core genres that would define the nightmare. Season 1, episode 1, A Long Day's Journey into Night. The author begins with a classic American family tragedy. He finds that Matthew's family already collapsing under the weight of grief from losing their son Thomas, and casts them in a literal Eugene O'Neill play. They're trapped not just in a town but in a drama of blame and pain, their personal demons given a physical stage. But we move into a rock and a far away. Season 1, Episode 4, the genre shift to existential dread. The author used the idiom "a rock and a hard place" to introduce the theme of impossible choices. It's when we see young Victor and the event that shaped his life. Book 74, Season 1, Episode 6. Here the author introduced the religious horror. He takes Father Catherie's fate and twists it into a prophecy. The town becomes a living scripture. In this genre, Sarah is not just someone who did something horrible. She's a heretic, or prophet in a story where fate is the ultimate trap. Into the Woods, Season 1, Episode 9. The genre becomes a deconstructed fairy tale. Boyd's heroic quest is put through the filter of a Sondheim musical. He ventures into the dark forest to find a solution, but like in all God fables, the magic comes with a bitter, ironic price. He doesn't just come back with a happy ending, he comes back with a curse. Then, Season 1, Episode 10, All the Places We'll Go. The author ends the first volume with his Cruelest joke, a twisted children's book. He takes Dr. Seuss' book about hope and boundless potential and uses it to underscore the absolute hopelessness of the character's situation. As they reach for the sky with their radio tower, the author shows them the only place they will go is deeper into the nightmare. But Season 2, the second act, deepening the psychological nightmare. In Season 2, the author has established the world. Now he begins to experiment, introducing new genres and layering them to create a more complex psychological pain. Season 2, Episode 1, Strangers in a Strange Land. The genre is science fiction paranoia, pulling from Robert H. The author introduced the bus passengers, aliens in an alien world. Their confusion and disbelief serve to highlight the sheer insanity of the town's rules, turning the story into one of cultural and existential clash. Then Season 2, Episode 2, The Kindness of Strangers. The author shifts to Southern Gothic tragedy. He borrows from Tennessee Williams to explore the pointlessness of human compassion. The episode is filled with a sense of broken grace, where acts of kindness are met with brutal, indifferent violence. Then Season 2, Episode 6. This the author is staging an intimate body horror ballad, the step of two in the horrifying dance between Boyd and Smiley. It's a story of mirrored exchange, a curse for a dead man, a man for a monster. The genre is personal and elegant. Then Season 2, Episode 10, Once Upon a Time. The author signals a full pivot into the high fantasy and myth. He used a classic fairy tale opening to frame Tabitha's journey to the tower. This is not a random event, it's a quest. The rules of the grounded horror are officially suspended when we move into Season 3, Revelations and Apocalypse. In Season 3, the author stops hiding, but every answer is a new form of suffering. For example, There and Back Again, Season 3, Episode 4. The author casts Tabitha in a Tolkien story. She completes her Hobbit's tale, going to a world beyond and returning with a terrible knowledge. But unlike Bilbo, her return doesn't bring closure. It brings more questions and confirms that even escape is just another part of the story. Then we have Revelations Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Season 3, Episode 9 and 10. The author ends his book with a biblical apocalypse. He pulls directly from the final book of the New Testament to signal that the end is here, the final truth. The monster's origins, reincarnation cycle, the man in the yellow suit are all delivered. This is the final judgment, the ending where the world's foundations are revealed and the final bloody act begins. So now we know the how and the connections to many of the books. The author used the books as a weapon, but the truly insane part is the what. What does this author target? He doesn't attack their flaws, he doesn't punish their mistakes. He identifies their single greatest strength, very foundation of who they are, and he twists it into the instrument of their own destruction. It's not just a prison, it's designed to prove the residents that their goodness is their greatest liability. Let's look at the case files. Case file 1, Tabitha Matthews. The author casts Tabitha in a family tragedy. Her defining power is her fears born from the trauma of losing Thomas. So what does the author do? He feeds her that need. He provides the mystery of the electricity, knowing her logical mind cannot resist. He sees visions of the ghostly children, knowing her maternal heart cannot ignore them. Her love, it all leads to one place. The hole she digs to find answers is the very act that brings the arrival of the author down upon her family 2 seasons later, leading directly to her husband's death. The man in yellow took her greatest strength, her need to protect her family, and turned it into the very thing that got her husband killed. Case file number 2, Sarah Myers. The author casts Sarah in a morality play. Her power is her boundless compassion and her desperate hope for a better world. She's the one person who will do anything, sacrifice anything to save everyone. So the author doesn't send monsters, he sends a promise. He whispers in her ear the one thing her hopeful heart wants to hear. There's a way home. The author takes her hope and twists it into a murder weapon. He turns her compassion into the justification, the final brutal irony. In her quest to escape with her brother and with everyone else, she's the one who accidentally kills him. The author didn't just break her, he proved to her that in this world, hope is the deadliest poison of all. Now case file number 3, Boyd Stevens. The author casts Boyd in a dark fairy tale. His power is not hope, is his unbreakable sense of responsibility. Haunted by the failure to save his wife, his entire identity is built on protecting the town. The author doesn't offer Boyd a way out. Instead, he gives him what looks like a victory. Boyd's greatest win, killing a monster with his own infected blood. His act of protection becomes a source of a new, more intimate horror that grows inside Fatima. The author takes Boyd's sense of duty and twisted every single heroic act into a failure. His responsibility becomes a curse, forcing him to make a choice, like smashing a man's hand with a hammer, all in the name of saving someone he loved. The lesson for Boyd is brutal. In this world, the protector will always become the destroyer. But do you see the pattern? Tabitha, Sarah, Boyd. The author doesn't care about their flaws. He finds what makes them good, what makes them human, what makes them strong. And he engineers the story to prove that in this world, it is worthless. They're not just characters in a story. We have one that is a story walker. And for her, the game is different. The author doesn't just break a story walker, he hijacks her. And that's something that I imagine that we're gonna see in season 4. He's gonna take her greatest gift, her deep empathy, and turn it into a curse. She doesn't just see the past or future. She's forced to witness the story's most brutal moments, like her own father's death, without any power to change them. Her empathy doesn't give her power. It makes her a lonely, helpless audience to a horror movie where she knows every tragic moment before it happens, but is powerless to stop the film from playing. The author's lesson for a story walker is the most meta of all. In this world, knowing the story doesn't set you free. It just forces you to watch the people you love walk through their doom. It's not a prison that tests your will to survive. It's an engine designed to burn away your soul, one page at a time. The real horror from is not that you cannot leave, it's that the person you are will not survive. The biggest clue was never hidden at all. The author has been telling us the genre of our suffering chapter by chapter, right from the very beginning. But what do you think is mean that every title has a connection to a book? Leave your theories below.